Hello, hello! Welcome back to the channel, or if you're new here, I'm Jen and I am delighted to meet you. Today, we're gonna make some homemade mayonnaise. Now, I'll tell you, when I was completely strict, 100% carnivore, I tried a couple of times making bacon mayonnaise and I never really had luck. I'm not saying I'll never try again, but now that I'm experimenting with adding a couple little things into my diet and I'm kind of more like keto-core, I wanna make a more true mayonnaise. And here's why. Basically, all the mayonnaise options at the store are full of disgusting chemicals and oils that I don't want to eat, industrialized vegetable oil kind of stuff. So I want to make my own with a good olive oil or avocado oil or something like that. And so today we're going to make it using avocado oil, an egg, lemon juice, white wine vinegar, mustard, and salt. That's it. Now the thing about this, there's no preservatives at all. So you wouldn't want to keep it in the fridge for months on end like you would with an old jar of Miracle Whip, if you remember that. I definitely ate a lot of that as a kid. Oh, that stuff is not good for you. But you can keep it forever, years probably. This has no preservatives, so I don't know what the exact shelf life is. I will look it up and then I will put it up on the screen for you so you'll know, but I think it's probably just a couple of weeks. So we'll make it. And then I'm gonna actually make some recipes with it, like some fish salad kind of things, right? Like a tuna salad, egg salad, those kinds of things, so that I can eat the delicious, healthy food, have the mayonnaise with it, but not keep it in the fridge for too long. All right, give me just a second to set up and I'll show you exactly how to make it. Here is the jar that I want to ultimately store my mayonnaise in. If I had my druthers, I would use my immersion blender in the jar, but it doesn't fit. And my immersion blender did not come with a specific container to use. So I'm going to use this glass that my immersion blender fits down in. I'm just gonna go ahead and add all of the ingredients to this glass. Now we definitely wanna add the oil last, so I'm gonna set that aside. We'll do our egg first, which I've read before that you should use a room temperature egg. I didn't have that, so I just soaked my egg in warm water for a little bit. Then we need 1/2 tablespoon of lemon juice, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, as well as a 1/4 teaspoon of mustard. A lot of the recipes call for Dijon mustard, but I don't have that, so we're making do with regular today. Then we need about a teaspoon of this white wine vinegar. I'm at my boyfriend's, so I don't even have a teaspoon measurer, so I'm going to do about 1/3 of this tablespoon. And then we're going to add 1 cup of oil. We want that to basically be on top so that when we go to blend it, the oil sort of blends in slowly. I'm gonna let that sit for a couple minutes so the oil will separate and be on the top, but I just wanna give a recap. So you need 1 cup of oil, 1/2 tablespoon of lemon juice, 1 teaspoon of white wine vinegar, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of mustard, Dijon if you have it, regular is fine if you don't, and 1 egg. Okay, that's been sitting there for a minute, so I'm gonna put my immersion blender down into the glass, making sure that the whole egg is right underneath so that gets blended up right away. And then we'll start it and hope for the best. Okay, it's working great actually. I wish I had a larger container, but you can see it's nice and creamy because the oil slowly got incorporated. It's really nicely blended. It's just that there's a little bit of extra oil right on the top. I don't know if you can see that well, but I'm gonna pour it into my jar and just stir it around. I think what I'll actually do to give myself a little more space is to mix it in this bowl a little bit to make sure it's just fully incorporated, and then I'll add it to the jar. Now I've tried doing this before in different steps with the immersion blender and moving the blender up and down from the very beginning, and that did not work. It just stayed an oily mess. Mayonnaise is hard that way. It's like if you don't get it just right, it doesn't become creamy, it doesn't become fully incorporated. So this way seemed to work, where all the ingredients besides the oil are at the bottom, and you make sure those are blended up for about 15 seconds before you start bringing the immersion blender up to get the oil incorporated. All right, ultimately, I'm pretty pleased. That literally took like 2 minutes maybe. So I'm just gonna scoop it in here, mix it a little bit better. And you know what's so funny is it kind of smells like Miracle Whip, which is terrible for you. I mean, no offense if you eat it. Believe me, I've had a lot of it in my life. But it does kind of smell like that. And you see how creamy it is? It's nice and creamy. I'm gonna just give it a little taste. Now, I'm the only one who's gonna be eating this, okay? I'm gonna stick my finger in it. Tastes like mayonnaise. It's really good. I do think the Dijon mustard would give it a little bit more of a kick, but the regular mustard was just fine for today. So for now, I'm just going to drop it right in my jar. And then I will be back soon, maybe later today. We'll see. If I have different clothes on in the next segment, you'll know it's a different day, to show you some recipes with this. Here is my jar of mayo. I'm gonna keep this in the fridge until I'm ready to use it, which will definitely be within the next couple of days. Okay, so it's officially the next day. I worked today, so that's why I'm still in scrubs, but you can see my hair is a little different. But we're gonna make salmon salad, basically like tuna salad. So this is what we need: a can of salmon, our homemade mayo, Dijon mustard, which I went to the store and bought some, so I don't have to use regular mustard, lemon juice, celery, red onion, tiny cute little pickle, dill pickle, and salt. So let me get all this prepped and then I'll tell you how much of everything and we'll get going. All right, everything is ready to go here. Let me just show you something with the salmon. So this is what I got. It's pink Alaskan salmon, just the Great Value brand from Walmart, wild caught, packed in Alaska. It's very, very high in calcium because it has the bones in it and the skin for that matter. But that's what I look for in salmon when I'm trying to get the full benefits of it. And one of the main reasons that I'm trying to eat more salmon is because I'm working with this coach who, her name's Coach Jen Winkler. She ordered some labs and stuff for me, and based on my labs, says I need a few things. I need more zinc, iodine, and specifically vitamin D. And so she recommended that I try to eat salmon at least once a week. And I think that's a great recommendation, but I'm not very good at doing it. So this will be a good way to add more salmon to my diet. So 1 15-ounce can of salmon, 1/3 cup of our homemade mayonnaise. We're gonna do 1/2 tablespoon of Dijon mustard, about 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, and about 1/3 cup each of chopped up dill pickle, chopped onion. I used red onion, and I have these glasses on my head because I used these to chop the onion because it made my eyes less watery. So that seems to be a trick that helps. And then celery. So again, about a third or so cup of each. I didn't measure it. I just eyeballed it. So I'm gonna mix all of this up, taste it, and again, I'm the only one who's gonna be eating this, so I'm just gonna taste it right out of the bowl, right off the spoon, and that'll help me determine how much salt to add. I like that it has the little bit of onion, celery, and pickle because it's gonna give it a little bit of a crunch. So then when I get a crunchy bite, I won't automatically think, oh, there was a bone. You know, it could have just been a pickle. All right, let's take a look. It basically looks like tuna salad, which I like tuna salad. I don't know about you. Let's see how it tastes. It's really freaking good. It tastes almost exactly like tuna salad, except slightly more mild. I don't think it needs much salt at all. I'm gonna add a dash of Redmond real salt. And I see in my background, I have these masa chips. I've never tried them. I probably won't eat them, but I ordered them for my boyfriend because he likes to eat tortilla chips. And these are made of corn, and then they're fried in beef tallow and salt. That's it. And I think one of the best things he could do to just be a little healthier is get rid of vegetable oils. So those are pretty expensive because you have to order online as far as I know. But he hasn't tried them yet. But I mean, I'll find out how they are and let you know if you're interested. Anyway, this was super duper easy. Very tasty. So I think what I'll do is I'll just put this in a bowl and take it to work. You know, maybe 2 to 3 servings in here. Get tons of great nutrients from the fish, plus a little bit of crunch from the plant foods that are in there. And you know, this isn't perfectly carnivore, obviously, but I feel like it's fine. It's totally keto still. It's just a little bit of plant foods. For me, this is great. This may be a stretch for some, but obviously you don't have to use all the plant ingredients either. You could literally just do the salmon and the mayo. Anyway, I would say this is a winner. And soon I will show you some more recipes with our homemade mayo. I split it into 2 servings to pack up and take to work. And here are the macro and micronutrients for that. Each portion has about 600 calories, 50 grams of protein, 40 grams of fat, tons of B vitamins, vitamin D, calcium, phosphorus, selenium, and omega-3 fatty acids. Hey, look, it's a new day. I didn't work, so I have a nice sweatshirt on. I'm dressed my best today. And today we're gonna make another recipe with our mayonnaise, and that is deviled eggs. Now, I will say between the time of filming the salmon salad recipe and today, I've eaten it. I split it into 2 servings, and it was so good. Oh my gosh, it was a lot like tuna salad, except honestly more mild and super high in calcium, because I think I mentioned that the salmon I used had the skin and the bones. And so very high in calcium, vitamin D, B vitamins, omega-3s, super duper healthy. Now, these deviled eggs, they're healthy. They don't pack quite the same punch, but this is a recipe that you could make for holidays for other people besides yourself. Also, it's great for a meal. Honestly, I'm just gonna have it today for lunch. So let's get started. What I've got here is 6 boiled eggs, our homemade mayonnaise, which we need 3 tablespoons of, 1 teaspoon of Dijon mustard, half a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar, salt to taste, and then we're gonna garnish at the end with paprika. The first thing we've got to do is get our egg yolks into this bowl. So I'm going to cut my eggs in half lengthwise and then just scoop out my yolks. Now, I cooked my boiled eggs for 14 minutes. I started with the water already boiling, then I put the eggs in and set a timer for 14 minutes at that point. Kept the heat on the whole time so it continued to boil, and it turned out like this. My yolks are completely cooked, but they're a little on the soft side, so I could have gone longer, more like 15 or 16 minutes. But I hate it when they're overcooked and they're like greenish gray. I don't like that at all. So 14 minutes was just fine. These are farm fresh eggs from a friend, and look at these yolks. They are the color of macaroni, I feel like, or well, macaroni and cheese, that fakey orange, but this is like true nutritious orange. I know they make fancy tools so that when you cut your eggs, the lines are straighter and there aren't ridges from the butter knife and all that, but they don't have any of that fancy stuff, and you don't have to either. I think there's even something that centers the yolk somehow. One of my chef friends, Jeffrey, told me about it. I don't quite understand it, but I think it shakes the egg around when it's still raw and gets the egg yolk centered in there. Instead of like this one, for example, where my yolk is kind of off to one side. One more. I'll give you a little sneak peek. There's just enough mayonnaise left after this recipe to make one more recipe. So I'm going to make chicken salad. And I've really enjoyed this. I love the mayonnaise, and I've enjoyed making these recipes, and there's so many more to make. So unless you guys comment that you just hate this, then I will make more videos about it in the future and making different recipes. Okay, so here is a bowl full of egg yolks. I'm going to add the mayonnaise. I'm gonna add, remember it's a half teaspoon of apple cider vinegar and a whole teaspoon of Dijon mustard. I don't have a teaspoon measurer here, so I guess I'll do my half one twice. And then I'll mush this up, get it nice and smooth, and then taste it. Again, I'm the only one eating this, so I'm just gonna taste it right out of the bowl with my tools to see how much salt it needs. I have this book called, I don't know if I can stir and think. What's it called? Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat, I think. Salt, Fat, Acid, Heat. It's written by a renowned chef, and one whole section of the book is just about salt. And she says that you don't know how much salt you need unless you taste it, because different kinds of salt have different levels of saltiness. And then of course other ingredients in the recipe change the salt content. And so anyway, she would recommend taste testing anyway. Now, I suppose she would probably do it with a separate utensil that isn't being double dipped, but those are just details. All right, I think we're nice and smooth. Let's give it a taste. I don't know how much salt to add based on this. It's not salty at all. I'm just gonna give it a few shakes. If you need a number, maybe start with like 1/8 of a teaspoon and then taste and go from there. We're getting very close. I'm gonna add a little more. You probably know I love Redmond's real salt. That's pretty much all I ever use. Though I'm open to the idea of experimenting with other kinds of salt, you know, flakier salts and stuff like that. This is what our yolk mixture is looking like. Nice and thick and creamy. So I'm gonna try my best to pick up about 1/12 of the mixture and plop it into each of these eggs. Maybe I'll use this knife. You could also put this into a Ziploc bag, cut off the tip, and pipe it in. That would look nicer, but I didn't think of that. I didn't prepare for that, so we won't do that today, but you sure can. So that was easy. Here are our eggs. I'm gonna just add that little bit of paprika, and then we'll be done. Here's a fun fact. So I'm almost 40, but I don't have my own family. You know, I don't have kids or anything. My sister's younger than me. She's 37. She's got a couple kids. And somehow, I guess because I don't have kids, I never was like a host for holidays or never had really any expectations put on me for holidays. So I never make anything for Christmas or Thanksgiving or any of that. My sister always makes deviled eggs, actually. My mom really does most of the work, and I don't know when that will change, but I'm willing to start doing more work. I just haven't. So I guess this is something I could do. Look at these beauties. Aren't those beautiful? Let's give it a taste. Pretty good. I think I've outdone myself. Here's a little better view for you. Aren't those beautiful? Let's make one last recipe together with the remaining mayonnaise. This one is going to be chicken salad, which is going to be the least carnivore friendly. It does have a fair amount of carbs, but I thought it'd be kind of fun to do something a little bit different. And let me just start by telling you there's a few substitutions I would make if I had the time. One is I'm using canned chicken breast, which is fine. If I had more time and I had the ability to get it right now, I would use actual chicken breast, probably from a whole chicken that I would cook and then take the breast and use it for this. But canned chicken is fine in a pinch. The other thing I would swap out is grapes. Grapes are fine in chicken salad. I like it, but I prefer cranberries. I just could not find them at the store. So today we're using grapes. The other things we'll need for this recipe are celery, onion, Dijon mustard, and sliced almonds. So I'm gonna zoom in a little bit and give you all the actual measurements, and then we'll see how it tastes. I'm gonna try to put this together for you one-handed. First, we've got 1/3 cup of mayonnaise. Give me just a sec to scrape this in there. For our teaspoon of Dijon mustard, I'm gonna just eyeball it because I don't wanna dirty up a spoon. Now I'll scrape in the veggies. So there's about 1/3 cup of celery and 1/3 cup of onion. There's 1/4 cup of slivered almonds. I'm gonna stir all this before I add the grapes because the grapes are a lot softer. I just don't wanna smush them. It's been a long time since I've had chicken salad. Back in those days, I was eating it on a croissant, which was delicious, but I won't be doing that anymore. Okay, that's good. So I will put in the grapes. And again, I wish it was cranberries, but you get what you get. Looks pretty good, right? Let's give it a try and see if it needs some salt. It's nice and crunchy. The almonds are really the best part there. It does need a little salt though. It's interesting. The salt makes the sweetness stand out more. It brings out the chicken flavor. That was perfect. Very good. Here's our final product. Nice and creamy with the mayo. Good salty flavor, and then the sweetness from the grapes and the crunch from the celery and the almonds. Not bad at all. Thank you so much for joining me for all this. It's been really, really fun. And like I said, I really want to try some different recipes. So I will absolutely make another video on this topic. So let me know in the comments what recipes you'd like to see in the future. If you haven't already, like, subscribe. And if you want to, connect with me on Instagram where we can connect every day.